I believe I am live. Hello, my magical friend, and welcome to this week's installment of Summer of Superpowers. Well, Superpowers, but it's summer, so Summer of Superpowers. Today, we're going to talk to I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk about who does this belong to. So, welcome. Hi, Neely. So, last week's featured podcast was an installment of Conscious Carnivores. And what are you scared of? And the longer title was, what are you scared of if you change your animal's diet? So I got on and I asked y'all a question. What were you scared of? And how did it end up turning out? And we got some fun comments. A lot of people didn't remember what they were scared about, and that changing the diet went well. And we had a bunch of different ways to change diets. So this wasn't, hi Keisha, hi Dana. Miss Molly Brown says hello. Young lady, we discussed this. She loves to sit in her bed and rile up all the dogs. She never moves. She just gets them going because she can. Okay. And then, and some people described what they switched their diets to. And this wasn't a right or a wrong or what you chose and why didn't you choose it. It was just, did you go beyond what you thought you were scared of? Did you go beyond the fear to choose something different with and for your animals? So that was this last, yes, Keisha's like hashtag master manipulator. Yes, all of our animals are, and don't you think otherwise. So that's what we talked about. That was the last installment on the featured podcast. Oh, and by the way, hi, I'm Dr. Andy. Thank you for joining me today. And you know what? They're usually so good at this when I leave them in the room. And my point of view was they're so good at this when I leave them in the room that they have to like show me otherwise, right? Miss Molly Brown. I was also in a little bit of a rush to get here. I took Riggs to his ozone appointment with Dr. Judy Jasek, who's been a guest on Dr. Andy's World many times, and we were talking a little too long, so I kind of rushed in. So when your energy is a little elevated, is your pack's energy a little elevated? Yeah. Anywho, so Dr. Andy here. Hi, thank you for joining me. We are gonna, yes, well, it's gonna be one of those. Everything that is. Your point of view creates your reality. So, okay, so how can this turn out even better than I ever imagined? There we go. Remember your questions. Empowerment. What if you do know what's going to work for you and your animals? And what if that is being an empowered pet parent? And what if you have all these superpowers at your fingertips that you can use and play with and be with your animals in a different way that works so much better for you and your animals? So that's why I'm here today. Not sure why you're here today, and I hope you enjoy it no matter why you are here today. Okay, so superpower for today is, who does this belong to? What the heck is that, Dr. Andy? It's a question. It is a superpower. It's a tool from Access Consciousness. It's one of my favorites. Saves my bacon in many different examples. And we're going to apply it to this fear, this I'm scared of. Because what if, here's the next question, what if it's not even yours? Ha-ha! What if we are truly empath and radio towers picking up on everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions all the time. Not kidding. What if none of the fear around changing your pet's diets, none of the I'm scared around changing your pet's diet, none of the fear or I'm scared around any other topic you want to extrapolate to is not yours? What if you are picking it up from everybody else and buying it as yours? You might want to listen to that a couple more times, because that is something that is not generally talked about in this reality. And don't take my word for it. Play with it for yourself. Okay? Who does this belong to? Okay? Who's scared? Who's afraid? Whose fear does this belong to? And you may not get an answer to that. You don't have to identify it's the third person in the red car at the red light, or it was my grandmother's from 1942. It don't matter. Don't matter whose it is. But what if you get to return it? As simple and easy as return to sender. Who does this belong to? Oh, is it mine? Is it someone else's? We'll throw in the world, but we're going to deal with just, is this mine or someone else's? Oh, so we go back to the light and heavy. Remember our light and heavy tool? Talk about it all the time here. Talk about it all the time on Dr. Andy's World. Light and heavy tool. What's light, bubbly, easy? Ooh, excited. What is that for you? So, and heavy is, well, it's heavy, I don't want to do it, and you know, that energy. So, who does this belong to? Is this mine or someone else's? Oh, someone else's. That's lighter. So I'm going to return it to sender. I'm not going to keep it. I'm not going to buy it as mine. And I'm not going to try and change it because it's not mine. So, when you are, let's apply it. Let's get very serious here and apply it to changing our animals' diets. Is this emotion that comes up, this thought, all these thoughts of what could go wrong, all of these feelings of I'm scared and I'm afraid, are they even mine? Who do these belong to? Are they mine or someone else's? Holy crap, they're somebody else's. So let's return them to sender. And see what shifts and changes. And you can only change feelings, thoughts, emotions if you acknowledge that they're not yours to begin with. And how many thoughts, feelings, emotions do we buy from other people and just decide they are ours? How much more are we doing this currently when millions and billions of people are anxious about a pandemic? How much have you decided your anxiety has gone up? How much have you decided your animal's anxiety has gone up? And you decided this and you owned it. And here's the question, who does that belong to? Is it yours or someone else's? Are you picking up on the global pandemic of anxiety and unsureness and uncomfortableness and what is coming next, that you decided it must be yours? And what if we acknowledge, oh, not mine, return to sender? I actually had a conversation with a client. She came in over the weekend. And she's like, I need a new job. They're not doing everything. They're not doing anything right. I'm so concerned about touching people. I don't know. I'm going to give people the COVID. I'm going to get the COVID. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, can we do a little bit of this? Can we look at this a little bit? I know I'm here for your dog, but or you're here for your dog. I'm here for what's going to create ease for both of you. Can we look at it? Is that even yours? Of course it's mine. I go, really? Because I have a sense, and what if y'all have a sense that everyone on the planet is very anxious, and what is everyone else concerned about? She goes, oh, about getting the COVID and passing the COVID and getting sick and not getting sick and getting someone else sick. I go, and it's possible that it's not all yours? And she goes, oh, it's not all mine? and, and you could physically see her body go, oh, it's not all mine, and return to sender. I know. All this easy stuff, all this simple stuff that you could just slip in and see how it can change how you be on this planet and how you be on this planet with your animals. And what if you just added in? And what if just acknowledging that all of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions that go through your head every single day are not yours or may not be yours? So you have to ask that question, who does this belong to? It's mine or someone else's? Is this fear about changing my animal's diet mine or someone else's? Huh, someone else's. Look at that. Return to sender. Now what can I choose? Okay. So, for those extra brave souls out there that want to take on a humdinger of a challenge, let me tell you, as a humdinger of a challenge, you do 3 days of who does this belong to? 3 days. For every, listen to this, every thought, feeling, and emotion that goes through your head. That's pretty much everything that goes through your mind. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. So every time a thought comes up, this is mine or someone else's, holy crap, it's somebody else's, return to sender. And if you are familiar with Access Consciousness and the clearing statement, we add that clearing statement on return to sender. And you follow it up with the clearing statement for those that are familiar with that. It's an extra little magical wand. And you can look it up on accessconsciousness.com. And if you are on the free membership, you'll see at the bottom the clearing statement on my emails, and you can look it up there, and you can see all the words right there for you. So I'm going to have you reach for that a little bit if you're like, what is that? I need to check that out. And if that's light for you, go check that out. Cool. So 3 days, every thought, feeling, emotion. Have you ever even looked at everything that goes through your mind? Like everything, thought, feeling, emotion. That's pretty much covers everything that goes through your mind. It is a humdinger of a challenge. A humdinger of a challenge. My phone is vibrating and I turned everything off. I actually remembered, Keisha, I turned everything off. 3 days. It generally looks like you do it for a few minutes and you're utterly exhausted. And then you'll remember a few hours later and you'll do it for a few more minutes. And then the next day you'll kind of remember to do it for a little bit longer. And then you're like, oh my gosh, all of this is not my stuff. And then you'll get back. And just see what shifts and changes for you. And what shifts and changes for your animals. Okay, cool. All right. Let me check these comments. They haven't moved in ages. I haven't really given you any reason to comment. I'm going to give you a reason to comment now. We are playing with technology, as always, because it's fascinating. And this is the point of view, and a judgment is frustrating. But we are playing with SpotBot. So if you would like the reminders for every time I saw the Keisha's like, so the doom and gloom isn't yours. No. And how much of a roller coaster has it been? Right? I still have days and I'm like, oh shit, the body's not moving. And the insanity isn't mine. Yes, no, the insanity is not yours either. You don't have to own the doom and gloom and insanity anymore. You can return it with sender. You can even add a little consciousness attached. And you know what? That energetic being, wherever it ends up going, they have to deal with their own stuff. And yes, this is not very linear. This is not A equals B equals C. Okay, this is very much return to sender and an acknowledgement that you don't own it. And you don't have to live up to it. You don't have to buy it. And it also gets very difficult to change if it's not actually yours. So send it back to where it needs to go so that being can deal with it the way they need to deal with it, or pass it on to the next being. But this is not very linear. And there's not a lot of answers to it. But see what it energetically changes for you. See if it creates some space in your life and living. See see if you can go, your body takes a deep breath when you're like, oh, you just that exhale, like, oh, so much nicer. A kind of energy to it. Back to, thank you, Keisha. She's like, took me off this track. I'm gonna go over here. Okay, so if you want any more if you would like more notifications or any notifications, of course you can do that on the Facebook page. You know, hit notifications and they'll send them to you, or you can write remind in the comments below, and Spotbot will be in touch when I go live and let you know. How cool is that? It's amazing. And for those of you that have people that you're thinking of that, ooh, what if they saw this? Would they like it? Please sprinkle it around your community. Would love to get more of this ease out into the world for people and their animals. Okay, this week's featured podcast, which is Friday on Inspired Choices Network, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Dr. Andy's World. We are still on our hiatus, our break. We are still, well, we always are working on Dr. Andy's World, and we are lining up season 3. I'm so excited. So excited. Oh, and if you have a great idea for a guest, we'd love to hear from you, and so we can contact them, because this season's all about the guests, at least in this 10 seconds. But the feature podcast on Friday is Your Goats Are Fat, Having Your Animals Back. That's what I said. Your goats are fat, having your animals back. This show is 2015, so we got a couple oldies in the lineup. So I bet that is Dr. Andy's Animal Magic. So a little different reincarnation of the show. And I know this conversation came up when I had my office with what I call my Stephanie. She helped with the front desk and holding clients, and nail trimmer of magnitude. She was also on the show. I forget what and how this goats are fat came up, but I am going to listen to the show, and hopefully I tell the story there so I can remember. And it's all about having your animals back. And how do you have your animal? Hi, Lori. How are you, sweetheart? And having your animals back. And what does that look like for your individual animals, or as the whole pack? And do you have your animals back? And how do you have your animals back? So I'm going to listen to the show. That is my commitment to the off season. It's so bizarre when you start doing this stuff. Like, I'm sitting here staring at myself essentially doing this live, and it's like, oh my gosh, I got to look at me. And you do it and you get used to it. Then you turn on your podcasts and you start listening to that, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to listen to me. Oh my God. And then you're like, holy moly, that was a pretty cool show. I did that. So I've been so grateful for that commitment to this off season, and really listening, because I've never listened to the shows before. I'm like, blah, 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 out into the world. Now I'm like, wow, that's a pretty cool show. Or wow, there's some good points in there. How does it get even better than that? So your goats are fat, having your animals back. That is this Friday, Inspired Choices Network, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then it's all on all of podcast platforms, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we will find out, because it's a mystery, what the next superpower is. If they come out of the shows, I follow the energy. So today, who does this belong to? Specifically, who does the fear of changing my animal's diet belong to? But you can use that with anything. Whose fear, or not whose fear, that's not really a great question. I apologize for that. Who does this belong to? This energy that comes up when I think about changing my animal's diet. Who does this belong to? Is this mine or someone else's? What energy comes up that I'm scared of, or that fear of changing jobs? Is this mine or someone else's? Because you are a radio antenna of magnitude. You are picking up on millions and billions of people's energies for miles around. I swear. Yeah. And don't just listen to me. Check in for yourself. See if it works for you. Play with it. Why not? Why not have some fun with it? Anyway, so if I'm afraid of changing my animal's diet, who does this belong to? Is this mine or someone else's? Oh my goodness. And that you layer in that light and heavy tool. It's so much lighter. Oh my goodness. I'm like, it's somebody else's. How cool is that? Return to sender with consciousness attached. And if you're and if you know it, you can add on the access clearing statement there, your magic wand, which I cover on the show. You can check out at accessconsciousness.com. There's links and stuff in the emails if you're on the free membership. So there's places to find it. We're just not going to go into it here on the lives. And we are looking at doing like a monthly taster that really delves into the wild and wackiness of access. If that's light for you, if that's fun for you, if you just like these little chats, stay here. Love you, so grateful. If you just want to do a little bit of the pick and choose what's going to work for you. That's what we're here for. So who does this belong to? Your superpower of the week. Use it, abuse it. See if it shifts and changes anything for you and your animals. And then return it to sender with consciousness attached and see what shifts and changed. I think on the show I talked, was it that show or another show? I don't know. I use it all the time. Use it in situations where I know there's lots of points of view. And I start getting caught up in the significance of stuff. If you get caught up in the trauma and drama, who does this belong to? Mine or someone else? Oh, someone else. Return to center with consciousness attached. And see how much space is created. See if there's more lightness in your world. See if you are smiling more. See if your shoulders are back a little bit. What is it for you? See if your body is happier. Because it shows up different for everybody. And again, in the comments, if you write remind, Spotbot will be in touch and we will get you on the list for notifications when I go live. I am here every Tuesday afternoon at 4:05 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We are doing a summer of superpowers. So far we had interesting point of view, and I remembered the one that was last week until right now. Interesting point of view. I just did it. I just had it. I'm so sorry. There was one last week. There was another one last week. And then this week, who does this belong to? All right, my friends. So much fun. Love these. Who's this? Who's this? You want to say hi? Who is this? This is Miss Ruby. You want to say goodbye to everybody? Oh, there she is. Until we meet again, how much fun can you have with your animals? Bye-bye, my friends.